One day, while lying helplessly under a tree, too weak to continue, he was found by an old woman gathering herbs. She was a medicine woman who lived alone on the edge of the forest. Seeing his pitiful state, she took pity on him and nursed him back to health. For weeks, the old woman tended to Gipir's wounds and fed him, slowly bringing him back from the brink of death. Gipir was deeply grateful for her kindness. As he regained his strength, he told the woman about his quest and the burden his brother had placed upon him. The medicine woman listened with compassion, understanding the weight of his mission. She offered him shelter and food, while he continued his search for the spear. In return, Gipir helped her hunt and gather food, and over time, he grew accustomed to his new life in the forest, even though he never stopped thinking about the family he had left behind. Years passed, and Gipir had all but resigned himself to a life in the wilderness. He and the medicine woman had fallen into a comfortable routine, hunting, gathering herbs, and sharing stories by the fire at night. But despite the peace he had found, the memory of his lost mission never left him. One day, as they ventured deeper into the forest in search of herbs, they stumbled upon a large pile of bones. The old woman immediately recognized the bones as those of an elephant, and Gipir's heart raced. Could this be the same elephant that had fled with the royal spear? He cautiously approached the skeleton, and there, among the massive bones, he saw his brother's royal spear, still intact and gleaming as it had the day he had thrown it. Gipir was overwhelmed with emotion. After all these years, he had finally completed his quest. Gipir could hardly contain his joy. He danced around the spear, marveling at the twist of fate that had led him to this moment. The medicine woman, smiling, watched him with a mix of pride and sadness. She knew this meant the end of their time together. As a token of her appreciation for the companionship they had shared, she gifted Gipir a set of beautiful, colorful beads, each one shimmering in the sunlight. These beads were unlike anything Gipir had ever seen, and he gratefully accepted them, knowing they would forever remind him of the hardships he had endured and the kindness he had received. The next morning, Gipir bid the old woman farewell and began the long journey back home. Weeks passed as he made his way through the dense forest and across the plains, the royal spear always in hand. When he finally neared the village, a murmur spread through the clan. They could hardly believe their eyes when they saw the unkempt figure approaching. Gipir had returned. Gipir's return sparked a wave of excitement in the village. His family rushed to greet him, and Labongo, despite all that had transpired, embraced his brother tightly. Gipir handed over the royal spear, fulfilling his promise and restoring the symbol of leadership to its rightful place. The clan celebrated his safe return with days of feasting and storytelling, the joy of the moment washing away the bitterness of the past, so it seemed, but beneath the surface, resentment still lingered in Gipir's heart. Though he had returned victorious, the memory of Labongo's harshness gnawed at him. As life slowly returned to normal, Gipir spent more time with the beads the medicine woman had given him, stringing them into intricate patterns. The beads became his solace, a symbol of his endurance and the challenges he had overcome. One day, while he worked with the beads, Labongo's young daughter toddled over, drawn by their bright colors. Before Gipir could stop her, she swallowed one of the beads. What began as a simple accident would reignite the simmering tension between the two brothers. When Gipir realized that Labongo's favorite daughter had swallowed one of his precious beads, his old anger resurfaced. Though the child was unharmed, the incident triggered a flood of bitter memories, the harsh journey into the wilderness, the years spent away from his family, and the dangerous task Labongo had imposed upon him. In that moment, Gipir saw an opportunity for revenge. Approaching his brother, he coldly demanded the bead back. Labongo, puzzled by his brother's sudden change in tone, tried to dismiss the issue as trivial. "It's just a bead, Gipir. The child will pass it in time, Labongo said, attempting to calm his brother. But Gipir was unyielding. His face hardened, and he reminded Labongo of the suffering he had endured to recover the royal spear. When you sent me into the jungle, I could have died, and you didn't care. Now I demand what is mine. Retrieve my bead no matter the cost. Labongo was stunned. He couldn't believe his brother would insist on something so drastic, especially at the expense of his own child. But Gipir's eyes burned with a desire for justice as he saw it. Labongo pleaded with Gipir to be reasonable, but Gipir was resolute. You didn't hesitate when you sent me to risk my life. Now I will not hesitate. I want my bead. As the hours passed, Labongo's heart sank. He understood what Gipir was truly asking for the life of his daughter, his favorite child. Labongo felt cornered. His position as leader of the clan required him to uphold fairness, and though this situation seemed cruel, Gipir's demand was rooted in the bitter law of their ancient tradition. Labongo couldn't escape the sense that he had failed, both as a leader and as a brother. Desperate, Labongo tried every argument to persuade Gipir to reconsider. He offered him wealth, land, and even a share of his own authority within the clan. But Gipir was unmoved. None of that can replace what I lost when you sent me into the wild. The bead is all I want, Gipir replied coldly. The clan looked on in silence, shocked by the escalating tension between the brothers. No one dared intervene, for the royal family's disputes were not to be challenged by the common people. And more importantly, was this truly about the bead, or had Gipir's heart hardened beyond repair? Find out in part 3, when a brother's grudge turns into a moment that will change their clan's history forever.